Borobudur is often photographed as a single, magnificent object. But that view hides its most important idea. This is not simply a building to enter, or a tower to admire from one perfect angle. It is a journey made from stone. The monument changes as you walk around it and climb. Dense carved galleries gradually give way to open circular terraces and sky. Stories surround you, then fall silent. To understand Borobudur, we have to follow the route its designers created more than 11 centuries ago. Borobudur rises in the Kedu plain of central Java, surrounded by hills and volcanic mountains. It was built during the 8th and 9th centuries, when the Shalendra dynasty was an important power in the region. Java was not isolated. Courts, ports, religious communities, farmers, craftspeople, and merchants occupied a landscape tied to wider Asian networks. Buddhism had traveled across seas and through royal and monastic connections. At Borobudur, those ideas were translated into a form that is distinctly Javanese, a mountain-like monument built around a natural hill. The Buddhism represented at Borobudur belonged to a connected world. Seasonal winds carried ships between South Asia, island Southeast Asia, and China. Travelers did not move along one simple route, and Borobudur was not a seaport. Yet the monument emerged within this broader environment of exchange. Texts, artistic conventions, ritual knowledge, and skilled people could travel alongside commercial cargoes. The result was not a copy imported from elsewhere. Javanese patrons and builders selected, adapted, and reorganized those influences into an unprecedented architectural experience. The monument was assembled from volcanic stone, cut into interlocking blocks and laid without mortar. Its terraces wrap around the hill in a carefully ordered mass. Building at this scale required quarrying, transport, planning, drainage, carving, and an enormous workforce. The original project also evolved. Structural changes were made as construction continued, including reinforcement around the base. Borobudur is therefore not the product of one effortless design moment. It records decisions, revisions, engineering problems, and generations of coordinated labor, human work on a monumental scale. From above, Borobudur's plan becomes clear. A series of square terraces rises toward 3 circular platforms and a large central stupa. Scholars often describe the design as a 3-dimensional mandala, an ordered model of the Buddhist cosmos. The architecture is commonly connected with 3 realms. At the base is the world of desire. The square galleries evoke the realm of form. The open upper terraces suggest formlessness. These labels help us read the design, but the monument teaches through experience, not through a diagram alone. Near Borobudur's base are 160 relief panels that are now mostly concealed behind an added stone encasement. This section is often called the hidden foot. Its imagery explores karma, actions, desires, consequences, punishments, and rewards. The encasement may have helped strengthen the structure, although the full history of that alteration remains debated. Whatever the reason, the concealed panels are a striking reminder that even what we see today is only part of the monument's story. Borobudur contains layers of design, repair, and rediscovery. Pilgrims moved clockwise around the monument, keeping the sacred structure to their right. This practice, known as circumambulation, transforms walking into ritual. At Borobudur, the path turns again and again through 5 square terraces. Stairways offer moments of ascent, but the long horizontal circuits are equally important. The walls hold you close. Corners interrupt your view. Reliefs appear in sequence rather than all at once. There is no single position from which the monument can be fully understood. Knowledge unfolds through direction, repetition, effort, and time. Borobudur contains 1,460 narrative relief panels, along with many decorative carvings. They present Buddhist teachings, stories of the Buddha's past lives, and the long spiritual search described in the Gandavyuha. These are not isolated pictures. They form extended visual sequences that reward careful movement. A viewer learns by following characters, choices, journeys, and consequences from panel to panel. The monument is sometimes compared with a stone book, but it is a book whose pages are read with the whole body. The reliefs also preserve glimpses of the world familiar to Borobudur's artists. We see houses, rulers, attendants, musicians, animals, plants, clothing, and vessels. Famous ship scenes have inspired modern reconstructions, but we should be careful. A carved ship is not a complete technical blueprint, and a religious narrative is not a documentary record. Even so, these images matter. They place Buddhist stories inside a richly observed Javanese environment and remind us that spiritual teachings were communicated through details audiences could recognize. Ports across Java and the Indonesian archipelago connected communities to the wider maritime world. Merchants and sailors moved ceramics, textiles, metals, forest products, spices, and ideas. Borobudur should not be reduced to a monument built because of trade, and we cannot trace every carved form to a particular voyage. The safer conclusion is broader. The people who created Borobudur lived in a region where sea travel, courtly diplomacy, and religious exchange were normal parts of political and intellectual life. The monument is local, but never provincial. Then the experience changes. After the confined square galleries, the upper levels open into 3 circular terraces. Narrative reliefs disappear. The horizon returns. 72 perforated stupas surround the platforms, each originally containing a seated Buddha image. Their repeated forms create order without enclosing the viewer. Mountains, mist, stone, and sky become part of the final composition. The contrast is deliberate: complexity below, spaciousness above. The pilgrim does not merely hear about a movement beyond form. The architecture makes that transition physical. At the center stands the largest stupa. Unlike the surrounding openwork stupas, it is solid and visually closed. What it originally contained, if anything, remains uncertain. That uncertainty is appropriate to the experience. The monument's final destination does not offer one last crowded narrative or a simple explanatory image. It offers a center that cannot be entered or completely seen. After kilometers of carved instruction, the route concludes with absence, enclosure, and sky. Borobudur's most powerful statement may be the point where images stop. Borobudur later fell out of regular use, sometime between the 10th and 15th centuries. The reasons are not fully known. Political centers shifted in Java. Religious landscapes changed. Volcanic activity may have affected the region, but no single eruption explains everything. The monument became overgrown, yet it was not simply forgotten by everyone. Local stories and knowledge continued. This matters because the familiar phrase discovery can erase people who already knew a place existed. European officials began formal surveys in 1814, but that was a new stage of documentation, not Borobudur's first memory. Exposure, water, unstable foundations, biological growth, and earlier repairs all threatened the monument. From 1973 to 1983, Indonesia and UNESCO undertook a huge restoration campaign. Sections were dismantled and rebuilt. Drainage was improved. Stones had to be recorded so they could return to the correct positions. Conservation did not return Borobudur to a perfectly untouched past. No restoration can do that. It created a safer future for a complex archaeological site while generating new records, new questions, and new responsibilities. Today, Borobudur is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a place of tourism, scholarship, conservation, and continuing religious meaning. Those roles do not always fit together easily. Crowds, weather, stone decay, and the needs of worshippers all require careful balance. But the monument's central idea remains accessible. Borobudur was not designed only to be looked at. It turns walking into learning, architecture into cosmology, and carved stories into a path toward silence. The next time you see its famous stupas, remember the galleries below. The view is the ending, the journey is the monument.